Arsenal have shocked everyone. Coming out of this summer transfer window, there were two perceptions around Arsenal's transfer business. Some people were saying, I can't believe we brought 8 players into this club. This is brilliant. The other side of the story, people were saying, why are we going for certain players? Why have Arsenal identified these players and made them their main targets? I don't understand it. I don't think Arsenal fans can have that opinion anymore. And luckily, I think from this moment on, things only get better for players like Madueke. I want to speak about that. Also, William Saliba. There's been an update, injury regarding William Saliba. So let's speak about it. Before we do though, you know the drill. My name is Jed, and if you can help me out very quickly, just hit like and subscribe on this video. So before I speak about players like Madueke, who seem to be shocking everyone, I genuinely want to know people's thoughts and opinions on Madueke, because it was a signing that split opinion. Most people, in fact, were saying, why have we brought this player? So I want to ask you, does Madueke feature in Arsenal's best 11 when everyone is fit? And if not, what role does Noni Madueke play in this Arsenal team? Please let me know in the comments section. The reason I'm making this video is because I think we need to be fair as an Arsenal fan base. We need the praise to be as loud as the criticism was. I don't need to remind everyone how loud the criticism, the toxicity was surrounding a signing like Noni Madueke. Look, I come on here and I said I don't understand it, but I will always back the manager. If this is the player he's identified, 100% I'm behind him. A lot of people had the opinion of this guy's a flop. Why do we keep signing ex-Chelsea players? I can't understand it. But look at how direct, look at how confident this player is. This isn't a player in which we currently have in this Arsenal team, apart from Bukayo Saka in those wide areas. A player with the confidence, as soon as he receives the ball, all he's thinking of is attack. It's what gets you off your seat. It's what makes you so passionate and loving about football. You want those dynamos, those players who, when the ball's at their feet, boom, showtime. And Madueke possesses that quality. I don't see many Arsenal players in this team who do have that quality. That's not to put those guys down, but it's just to say that it's an attribute that I think can be used massively going forward. But then it leaves you asking, where does he fit into this Arsenal team? Because when Bukayo Saka comes back, you would imagine he starts straight away on that right-hand side. Now, with the emergence of Noni Madueke's form and how just well he's playing, I don't think there's a need to rush Bukayo Saka back. That's not me sitting here and pretending to you like Noni Madueke is a better player than Bukayo Saka, but it just allows us to sit here and breathe for a second and say, right, there's no need to rush Bukayo Saka back because we have a player like Noni Madueke, a player who was the best attacker on the field when Arsenal were playing Liverpool. He was the best attacker, the most direct, the only player on that field. If something was to happen, if there was a spark, a moment of creativity, of brilliance, it would have come from Noni Madueke. So people could say, right, that might have just been a one-off. So then England yesterday against Andorra, he was the best attacker on that field by far. And people might say, well, it was only Andorra. And then I would say to you, well, it was only Andorra and Harry Kane was playing. It was only Andorra and players like Eze, other players as well were playing, and they didn't seem to have that same impact. Players like Rashford. So I don't agree with the argument that it's only Andorra, you can't take anything of it. Because even though it is only Andorra, he was still the best player on the pitch. So there's still something you can take from that. There's still confidence as an Arsenal fan or a football fan you can take from that, an England fan, and say there are good things to come from Noni Madueke. Like I said, let me know your thoughts on Noni Madueke. I just wanted to give him a shout out, give him some appreciation, because he didn't have an easy start to life at Arsenal. There was a lot of criticism, a lot of eyeballs, a lot of finger pointing, people telling him he wasn't good enough. I don't want Chelsea rejects. If we're being honest, when was the last Chelsea reject we signed? Now, there has been a few that kind of raised eyebrows, but the last couple, Havertz, Madueke, I'm not mad at them. So again, I just wanted to shout that out because I think it's very, very good. Let's talk about William Saliba. 3 to 4 weeks is the estimated time frame that William Saliba will be missing from this Arsenal team. Is that the end of the world? No. But it's so frustrating. It's like these Arsenal players and this Arsenal manager can't get a break. I'm kind of already having flashbacks to last season where it was like, right, we got this injury, he's out for 1 or 2 months. Then we got this injury, he's out for 1 or 2 months. And then before you know it, you look at the injury list, you got about 6 or 7 players that are first team contenders all sitting on the bench in the stadium because they're not able to be part of that first team squad. I don't want this to keep happening because it only does put pressure on the manager. People will say, why are you not winning? Because they hate to admit that having injuries will, of course, massively affect your title chances. If you don't have your best players available, if you're unlucky with injuries, then your team performance will regress. Unfortunately, that's a part of football. If your best players aren't fit, you won't be able to play your best stuff. This is why it's crucial to strengthen in these transfer windows, to bring in these guys who can not only start but strengthen this first team. Players like Madueke, who might not start every single week. But when he does have to come in for a player like Bukayo Saka, you hope there's not too much of a drop-off. We've seen it with Mosquera. Now, Saliba, who we're talking about, he came out after 4 minutes against Liverpool, and you're thinking, this is terrible. I don't know what's going to happen here. You would imagine that's going to be the weak spot. They're going to identify that. Didn't feel any nerves whatsoever because we recruited well in the summer. We need to keep doing this. We're seeing Hincapié come in now. Can he force his way into this first team? I guess at the very least, if we do get another injury to that left-back position or that left centre-back position, at least we have cover and we need to keep doing this. So all I would say is, if there's ever a signing that people don't fully understand, or if you think this isn't a ceiling raiser, we're not bringing in these first-team players, there's a squad, there's a bigger picture at times, and I think Mikel Arteta, Andrea Berta need big props because they are identifying weaknesses before they even happen. Everyone is quick to point out Mikel Arteta's flaws and say, you're not good enough in this area. I can't believe you've made this decision. Give him a shout out. Give him props to the brilliant decisions he does make, like bringing players like Madueke in, who without him we would have been stuck. Most people wouldn't have gone for that guy. What's the backup? You could give Reece Nelson a go there. Maybe it will work. You could give Ethan Nwaneri a go there. Maybe it would work. But you've got a player who's come in. Arteta saw something, identified that quality and said, no, he can be used in the first team. People didn't agree with it. He come in, he was needed. And now look at us. We're talking about how brilliant Noni Madueke is. Saliba, it's a massive blow. But again, luckily, we've got players who can cover that position. I don't want this to be a long-term injury. And I don't want us to be as lucky as we was last season with injuries because, like I said, the pressure will just keep gaining on Arteta and it's unfair. If at the end of the season we've played brilliantly, but we've had an unbelievably bad luck with injuries, I don't want the discussion to be Arteta's never good enough to win trophies. Because if he had all his players available, most of us know, then he probably would have won the trophy. But the pundits don't see it that way. The rival fans don't see it that way. Even the negative Arsenal fans don't see it that way. You need to be producing outcomes. That's all everyone sees. They don't care about the little nuances that happens during the Premier League season. All they want to see is the trophy at the end of the season. I think Arsenal can do that. I just hope we don't get unlucky with injuries. In Liverpool last season was so lucky that they didn't have any of their key players out. Now, in the past, they have had big injuries. Players like Virgil van Dijk. Are they going to get lucky again this season? If they do and we don't, then this could be a season where Liverpool win the title again. I'm not conceding the title. I'm not saying Arsenal can't win the title. I still think Arsenal's squad, our depth, our quality, when these players are fit, and now when some of these players aren't fit, means this Arsenal team is more than good enough to go and win the Premier League. And I still think Arsenal will do it. Let me know your thoughts on everything you've heard in this video. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could do me the quick favour, just hit like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.